A single letter can rewrite your entire story. It arrived on a drizzly Thursday, a heavy parchment envelope stamped with the gilded crest of Harrow and Dusk, legal counsel. My name, Evelyn Morrow, was scrawled beneath in a sharp, calligraphic hand that felt too grand for me. I held it, thumb brushing the wax seal, sensing its weight before I even broke it open. No one had tipped me off, but I'd felt a quiet rupture the day Nana passed, a tremor, like a thread snapping in a tapestry. At supper, my mother had said with her usual brisk authority, "Nora's will reading is next week. It's all for Lila, obviously. Don't bother primping for nothing." I didn't argue. Her words were like rain on a window, constant, unyielding, and never quite reaching me. The letter confirmed the reading, urging my attendance. One phrase caught my breath: "You are listed as a key beneficiary." I set it beside my chai, steam swirling over the ink, and heard my father's voice in my head, "Stay out of it, Evelyn. You were never in her orbit." Their dismissals weren't cruel, just careless, like a blade that cuts because no one bothers to sheath it. I wasn't Lila. I never could be. But I remembered Nana's orchard, the way she'd pressed a tarnished locket into my palm and whispered, "The ones who linger without fanfare, they're the ones who hold the roots." It wasn't about wealth. It was about presence. I tucked the letter into my scarf, circled the date, and resolved to show up, even if I was just a shadow in the room. Lila's name had always danced through our house like a song everyone hummed. Lila's speech won the award. Lila's designs are genius. Lila's bound for stardom. My parents spoke of her like she was already a monument, every gesture polished to a gleam. I didn't begrudge her. I just found my own spaces, attic nooks with poetry, the shed with Nana's old seed catalogs. Once, my mother caught me scribbling verses and sighed, "Why not aim for something that matters?" I tried, but I always faded next to Lila's radiance. Nana never asked me to glow brighter. She'd hand me quiet gifts, a chipped sextant, a pressed flower journal, a chart of tides she'd never sailed. "Follow your own current," she'd say. I'd lose hours mapping oceans I'd never seen, feeling anchored in a way I couldn't name. She never called me remarkable. She didn't have to. The last time I saw her was a cool August dusk. I brought a vial of rosewater from a market stall, the kind laced with cardamom and saffron. She poured it into 2 glasses, and we sat by her fire pit, watching embers drift against the twilight. No chatter, just the crackle of wood and the hum of crickets. No one knew I'd visited. No posts, no proof. As I left, she clasped my wrist and said, "You show up without a script. That's rarer than gold." It wasn't praise, it was a key, unlocking the part of me that didn't need applause. Now, I smoothed out a plain gray sweater and a coat with a loose seam, feeling neither bold nor chosen. But a steady pull tugged at me, not ambition, but a need to stand for her. The meeting hall perched on a windswept bluff, its brick face dusted with frost. I arrived as the sky paled, my boots crunching on gravel. Lila was already there, swathed in tailored black velvet, her presence pulling eyes like a magnet. She didn't glance my way. The clerk paused when I said, "I'm here for Nora Morrow," then nodded to a corner seat. I sat alone, unnoticed by the crowd of distant aunts, partners, and clients. Murmurs floated past, "What's she doing here? Didn't she vanish years ago?" I kept my gaze on Nana's portrait, a snapshot of her by her orchard, laughing like she'd just told a secret to the trees. The memorial blurred, prayers, tributes, words about legacy that missed her essence. Grief curled in my throat, private and unspoken. At the reading, Lila glided in, her earrings catching the light. "Just a formality," she said, voice carrying. Then Ms. Harrow turned the page. "To my granddaughter Evelyn Morrow," she said, and the room stilled. My heart lurched, but I didn't flinch. "I leave primary control of Morrow Ventures, including $42 million in assets and securities." The words cracked the air like ice breaking. Lila's smile froze. My mother's breath hitched. My father's hands tightened on his chair. Ms. Harrow pressed on, "This includes 60% ownership, with full decision-making power over operations and board selections." Lila shot up, her voice sharp. This can't be right. Ms. Harrow's tone was even. Nora was fully lucid, with notarized witnesses. Lila's eyes pinned me. She barely spoke to her. Ms. Harrow opened the dossier. She left a statement, * Evelyn arrived without a stage. That's why she's my compass *. Silence fell, heavy with truth. Lila's composure cracked, her eyes wide with disbelief. My mother's lips parted, shock outweighing denial. My father stared at me, seeing me for the first time in years. I wasn't thinking of money or control. I was thinking of that August dusk, the rosewater, the embers that didn't need words. Ms. Harrow slid an envelope across. For you, Evelyn. A personal note. I tucked it into my scarf, Nana's handwriting a quiet anchor. That night, in a motel with a humming radiator, I opened it. * Evelyn, you never chased glory, but you gave me what they couldn't, time, unscripted. I saw you in the margins of a house too loud to hear you. They sought accolades, you offered presents. That evening with the rosewater, you didn't ask for anything. You just were. That's why I chose you. * My eyes stung. * The company's yours to steer or release. I'm not giving you power, I'm giving you faith. They'll say you're unworthy, but I know who the world overlooks. I'm choosing to remember you. Love, Nana. The next day, I signed the documents. Lila was there, her voice venomous. You tricked her. She was frail. I met her gaze. I just loved her. Her face twisted. Don't call this love. She was mine too. I nodded. Then you'd know she hated spotlights. My mother's eyes welled, but she turned away. Ms. Harrow confirmed Nana's competency, her choices deliberate. Lila stormed out, promising a fight, her steps hollow. At Nana's orchard cottage, the key turned smoothly. Inside, the air smelled of cedar and thyme, her oak table, her quilted rocker, her shelf of tied charts. On the hearth, a photo, me at 12, sketching by her side, her hand on my arm. Beside it, a notebook. * Evelyn was never loud. That's why she's my tide. * I lit the fire pit, flames curling slow and sure. I sat with the letter, the photo, and the faith she'd left me, not a chain, but a horizon. A start.